Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben. It's episode 329, and I'm here with Lucy.
Here.
What?
Said hi, I'm here. I'm here.
I think my video, or your video, cut out very slightly because I saw your mouth move, and then there was this very small sound. I'm like,
I heard here, and I saw the shoulders move.
The
And I
little
was like,
dance.
is this like a attendance at a school? You know, like
Yes.
here.
Pres-
and we're here with Adam.
Oh, it's me, the guy who talks before he's called in.
Almost
Rebel.
every time.
They call me Rebel.
I have to start introducing you first, just so people know. They know.
No, because
anyway.
then to be a Rebel, I'll have to be like, no, welcome to Tanked Up
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Like, I have to like over interrupt.
Exactly. Let's open up some beers. If you guys don't know what Tanked Up is, where have you been for 328 episodes? We drink beers, we talk about games, so we're going to open some beers first. Lucy, what have you got? What are you going to be drinking?
I've got a stout. I haven't had a stout in a while. Months. And it's the only beer I have because it's like, what don't I want to drink in summer? A stout. So yeah, this is the only beer that I have that's like not a 750ml bottle. So
That's fair.
we'll go with it. It is called a coconut froth, and it's from Overtone. So really, really lovely can art.
That's very nice.
Got like latte art, obviously, like shape of the heart.
Yeah.
It's 9%. Yeah, coconut latte stout. God, why do you do this to me? Text, white text on brownish background. Another addition to our latte stout range. I didn't know they had one. Freshly ground coffee from. Does that say Coca Bee? Not a coffee connoisseur, so I don't know.
I mean, neither do I, but
Something from Coca Bee provides an intense flavour of roasted nuts, dark cacao, and sweet cedarwood.
Okay.
This is the perfect base for layers of deep tropical coconut flavours that are intensely sweetened from the creamy lactose. And the hops are Magnum hops.
Nice. Perfect. Good. 9% is, I think, should be the rule. It should be the law that all stouts start at 9% and can only go up from there. But we'll talk about the rule of law in a little bit, perhaps. I'm going to drink another Bristol beer. This is from New Bristol Brewery. It's called Forbidden Worlds. And it says it's the Forbidden Session. Oh, maybe it's called the Forbidden Session. Maybe it's a collaboration with someone called Forbidden Worlds. Is their flavour text. A low ABV makes this hop-laden brew an easily sessionable coiffeur. An everyday, all-day go-to IPA. It is 4.2% and it's a session IPA.
I almost bought that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it also appeared in the local down the street that has started to expand their craft brews. Yeah, I was just like, I haven't seen that. I should grab that for the podcast. And then I didn't leave the house, so I didn't. Because I saw it like the other day when I was grabbing like bits and bobs for dinner, and I was like, I should pick up some beer just in case. I was like, I'll just do that Thursday. That's no problem. I definitely will leave the house Thursday.
No.
It's become increasingly hard to leave the house. Everything's too expensive.
But again, everything's opened back up. It's like, do I want to go out? Nah. I was happy
nobody
a couple of
can
years ago.
afford
It's
it.
fine. I'm happy with just staying.
It's like everything opened up and everything became too expensive. It's like, well, you might as well just announce another lockdown at this point.
I do like on this. It's kind of like almost a filmy kind
Samurai
of thing.
Jack.
You know,
Samurai
it
Jack,
is the Samurai Jack, yeah, absolutely. Versus death. Got this little 40th stamp in the old Universal.
Oh yeah,
kind
PG rating.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know what all of this means. I don't know what Forbidden Worlds is, but you know, I'm gonna drink it anyway. Adel, what are you drinking now?
I am continuing my Dutch foray,
Ooh.
but also taking a page closer to Lucy's book and having a the Hammer and Sickle Porter from Brouwerij de Molen.
I think I've had that a long time
A
ago.
long time,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a
Yeah.
5.2% porter with a blow of Chinook, Saz, and oatmeal. And then
Good
there's a
blow.
weird. Oh, they now have like. I'm gonna read this even though it's long. I'll be quick,
Okay.
then I'll shut up. But they've got the quote on the back: "Mind-blowing craft beer." From the quote is from Menno Olivier. You experiment, give it a taste, and then do it all again. You fall flat on your face and pick yourself back up until finally you experience that sip, that tingling sensation that opens up new worlds. It's an extraordinary feeling. Beer is craftsmanship. It is our passion. It's simply who we are. That's exactly what raises beer to an art form. That's
Okay.
stirring stuff.
Yeah.
But also, like this
But yeah,
brewery,
check
like does that, right? I really enjoy them, so they can get away with a very
Yes, flowery language. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But I was skimmed and I was like, oh, this is. I don't remember the last time. I don't want to say generic flavor text, but like not flavor text is not about the beer.
Mm.
Has been that like.
About life
Oh,
itself.
do you think you take beer seriously? Hold my beer. Wait, no, this doesn't work. This is a bad meme. Let me hold my beer and tell you why you want to hold it.
Exactly. Yes.
But
I
yeah.
want to hold it in my arms and caress it after that.
Do you want to caress your beer, Lucy? That you're
Yeah,
drinking now? How
yeah,
is it?
it looks like sludge.
It does.
Oh, it really
Like,
does.
proper. It isn't like your typical looking stout, which deal. What was yours? Was yours a porter? Sorry.
It's a porter, yeah.
Yeah, hold up your actual poured out
Oh,
beer.
sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't look. Yeah, it doesn't look like that.
Lucy, yours looks like you poured some Guinness into some Nuki Brown or something.
Yeah, it genuinely does. It did pour with a nice head that looks like Adam's, like cream, slightly creamy coloured head, but that's dissipated now. But yeah, like you can see bits in it. It's like I mean, it's yeast, but it looks like it was just like coconut flakes and like oat flakes just falling through the glass. But yeah, it's murky, proper murky bayou pond water kind of like color. But it smells really good. Like I'm getting so much coconut. It's like I could put this a foot away from my nose and still smell the coconut. It's really powerful. But when I first cracked the can and first gave it a little sniff, I see what they meant about cedarwood. I mean, it smelled like if you went to IKEA and just started sniffing everything. It felt like proper new furniture. It was lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that coconut now is all I can smell. It's just very overpowering.
It's an interesting combination for like a latte series to then chuck a load of coconut in as well.
But it works. It works. That is really nice. I mean, it's if you don't like coconut, get a restraining order on this beer. Just don't come near it because it is just all coconut. But for 9%, I mean, it's got the body to it. It's got a nice I mean, obviously from the oats and the lactose, it's got that creamy, quite dense body to it. But it's not as viscous and obviously thick as it looks. It's not as even though that coconut is bringing quite a bit of sweetness, it's not a sickly sweetness. It's still tempered enough where it's easy enough to drink, and it's not. Oh gosh, I can only take a sip of this like once every half an hour, kind of.
Yeah.
Sickly, oily, viscous kind of beer. It's lighter than you think. Yeah, it doesn't have much bitterness to it. Because you'd expect that from like the coffee.
Yeah.
Just a mild bitterness from that coffee, but nothing that just takes the edge off that sweetness. But it's well balanced, I guess, with that. It feels like it should be, oh, it's going to be too sweet. Maybe they need to pack this in with a ton of bitterness just to balance it. But it's not getting pulled in either way too much, and it's just perfectly sat in the middle. It's just so well balanced. So, despite it being one of the ugliest beers I've had this year, it's it's really nice. It's really and it's like, even though it's like quite hot in here, and like, I don't know if this was on tape when we're talking about, I can't open the window because there's a wasp nest right in my room, but it's like it's quite humid in here, but it's like this isn't making it, you know, unlivable. It's just light enough. But now that I've been talking for a while, like, that alcohol, it's giving me a warming sensation now, for sure.
Nice.
That is quite a lot, actually. So that 9% creeps up on you.
Oh man, I haven't had 9% anything in a long while.
Yeah, neither have I. Maybe we'll have more this weekend.
Yes.
But,
I would assume.
We'll see what people bring for their daytime session.
Yeah, but that's lovely how it's like, yeah, I'm getting this nice warming alcohol sensation at the same time. You know, you're getting those like kind of wintry warming notes at the same time. You're on some tropical beach having like fresh coconut. It's a nice dichotomy or whatever.
Nice.
So.
Good. To a completely different beer then. This Forbidden Sesh from New Bristol. It's another very clear kind of beer. It's a little bit of haze to it, but not very much. The head disappeared almost as quickly as the beer I had in the previous episode, but not quite. Very, very orange in colour. It's got a lovely nose. Some sweet stone fruit on there. It
again looks like not a beer because there's no. Oh, I just saw some bubbles.
Yeah, there are a few bubbles. There's a few more bubbles. It's a bit more carbonated than the previous beer.
It looks like from concentrate apple juice.
Yes.
Yeah, you should have seen last episode's beer was even more so because it was yellow. It was less orange.
So in the mouthfeel, a little bit more carbonated. But that goes quite quickly, and there's nothing that sort of brings that carbonation. It's got that little bit of fizz to it. It doesn't do very much. But it almost has a very light and very quick flavour to it. It's incredibly dry, especially for a session IPA. It's really, really dry. It's sort of like, here it is, bye-bye. And it gives me, what's that? That nice kind of fruity nose. There's maybe a little bit of something else on there. Something a little bit, maybe not quite stone fruit. Something, maybe, again, it's not going in that sweet end. It's not going in that dank end. It's something kind of in the middle.
Floral, maybe?
It's a little bit, it's a touch floral, yeah. But it's really, you've got to stick your nose in to find it. But that does come through a little bit more in the flavour. So it kind of almost tries to give you that sweetness from those sort of stone fruits. And again, it's maybe trying to get a little bit kind of peachy, but the dryness just sucks that away. It's gone very, very quickly. And there's maybe like a touch of something else sweeter in there, maybe like a strawberry or something like that as well. But again, it's pulled away. And you're left with this more kind of, again, not dank, but it's almost like it's more like a cider, actually. It very much is like a dry cider, where it's got that little bit of sweetness, and that just gets pulled away very quickly. It's really dry, and you're left with this very kind of bittery, light bitterness, not big bitterness, but this very light, bitter finish to it, which, with that very dry but quite carbonated mouthfeel to it, makes me want to go back for it again. And I'm gonna drink this incredibly quickly, because the beer is saying, come back for more, come back for more, come back for more, come back for more, constantly. And actually, it's a beer that's not going to satiate my appetite for a beer in any kind of way, because I'll get to the end of this and it will be, oh no, where's it gone?
Right.
Give me more, please. Because it just wants you to keep feeding, basically, constantly drinking it, which is good for a 4.2% beer. but not
If
so
you have
good.
another one.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, I was
a
going to say not so
4-pack,
good.
yeah.
I need another beer. I don't have any more actually. It's my last two. I need another beer in the fridge just to
What's
have.
happened
Like,
to
I
us?
know, mate.
I have beers
What's happened to?
used.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
Really
2
bad.
beers left in the house, I think. Oh no, I have 3. But also, the beer I had last week with Chad and Curtis was the Verdant Wiper and True Farmhouse Spelt Pills, and the corner store, like the shop at the end of my road, it clearly, like, because it was limited run, it's a bit old, right? So I'm assuming it was close to out of date because they were, guess the price
Oh, is it
in
in the
this
bargain?
economy.
In the bargain bin for like £3.
What size of it? What size? What's how many
It's
mil?
440 ml tins.
£3.
£4.50.
3 for 5. Wiper and True Verdant Farmhouse Spelt Pills.
Wow.
And I only bought 3, and as soon as I got home, I was like, I should have robbed them of all of it. What was I thinking?
But did it do?
It tasted fine.
Okay.
It
Well,
tasted
as long as
fucking
it doesn't
fine. It was
taste like
great, yeah.
pure vinegar.
No, like I think maybe Ben or I had it on the podcast. I can't remember. It's like I remember talking about this beer. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. At this price, I'm buying it. And it was great. And I had a can last night, and
Nice.
I have one more in my fridge. But
Well done,
I mean,
sir.
basically, I was like, oh, this could be really bad, so I'll buy 3, right, for this price.
Yeah.
But 3 for 5 is insane for
That's
any
like-
beer at this point.
Yeah,
Right?
and Carling doesn't even.
Yeah.
Even that cheap. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think
It's that black
like a
label,
4-pack of
That's
440
white
Stellas is
lightning
like
leather.
$6.50. Yeah.
Oh.
So
2 litres for like £1.99. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
How about the beer now?
the beer I have, I poured it. It poured with quite a bit of head, but it calmed down quite a bit. You can see the lacing, just where the head was.
Mhm.
It's aroma. So it's only a 5.2% porter. It smells chocolatey.
Mm.
And a bit of red fruit, just a touch of it. So think like, not somewhere in between like raspberry and cherry chocolate, like,
Yeah.
but like really toned down in the fruit level. Just giving that a bit more heft to that chocolatey nose, and some sweetness. But I'm not getting very many malts off the nose, but like a really nice, steady aroma.
Mm-hmm.
What I will say is, it started a bit wet, but I think that was my brain being like, it's 5.2, it's a porter. But it's got a thick enough mouthfeel that I'm not disappointed.
Okay.
It obviously won't be like, a night like Lucy's
Yeah,
9%.
like
It's got to
mine,
be
yeah.
velvety on the tongue. This is enough. Like the difference between, I think the last porter I had was like a 4.8 or something. It always seemed really close, but it felt very, very watery. This isn't.
Okay, nice.
Oh, it's really lovely layered malts. Again, some chocolatiness. The malts are quite burnt, but the overall taste isn't burnt, if that makes sense. That like slightly sweet chocolatiness is interacting really well with the roasted malts, such that I'm not feeling like I'm drinking a bit of campfire. But then on the finish, that like the strength of the roasted malts has faded a bit, and then so when the sort of more chocolatey sweet part of the taste fades away, I'm left with this sort of, it feels like it should be drying out, but my mouth feels completely wet. But it's this like almost a little acrid burnt malt taste, but because it had just those like 5 seconds of dealing with the other taste, I'm not feeling, oh god, there's this burnt taste in my mouth. I'm just having this lingering burnt, sort of roasted burnt taste. And then ever so slightly, like on the tip of my tongue, it's a bit acrid. I actually suspect that, several sips in, that acridness will disappear just as my palate gets used to it. But it's a really luxurious taste curve because it feels really full-bodied in that like balance of sort of Swedish chocolate and roasted malts, and the chocolate doesn't last as long as the roasted malts. The roasted malts are where the finish is, but the, the chocolate sticks around just enough time so that I'm not getting. You never get the full strength of the roast,
Yeah.
the burnt. So then it just this lingering sort of really nice roasted taste in the back of your mouth that just kind of sits there, and you're happy, and you can just enjoy it because it's not full force. It's not overpowering you, and
Mhm.
and like it should. It just didn't because something else was in the way. If that makes sense, it's a really well balanced beer, very easy to drink. But again, I'm still feeling that finish. Like it's taking forever for that burnt roasted um, finish to end. In fact, I'm getting a bit of a resurgence of that sort of sweet chocolate coming back in.
Hmm.
So if you want, this is like a really great porter to sip at the end of the night and not feel rushed on. But also, if you felt like drinking it because you really like that sort of burst of that sort of chocolatey and that roastedness, you could drink this quickly as well. But it's in no way forcing you to drink. And unlike like the polar opposite of Ben's beer, where it's like, well, man, the
Mm.
polar opposite. It's not inviting me to. Some beers are just like, oh, I want to experience every moment of this taste curve, so I'm just not gonna have a sip. This is like, it'll take a while before you feel like, I need more. But you can take more anytime you want.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Let's enjoy these then. And it's our topic episode for our pairing this week. But Lucy, as you've jumped in for this second episode, I know you've got a game you want to chat about.
Yeah, and it's called Apico, which is a beer keeper simulation.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Is it sort of a bee, an apiary?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, it's came out on Steam, I believe. Was it last week or the week before? And I got a code for it from the devs and the publisher. And what I loved, like pre-release, I looked at the game on like Steam, and it was like it's ready. It's for Steam Deck upon release, and it's like, well,
Nice.
this is good. This is the perfect game for Steam Deck. Yeah, it's a 2D top-down beekeeping simulation game. It's like I mean, it's so easy to say because it is very much like Minecraft. It's like Minecraft, but like seen from like a 2D sprite Stardew Valley kind of perspective. And I mean, the game even starts out saying like, you've left your job in the city and going to this little remote island. Well, I guess it's an island, but and it's like, yeah, you're sick of the rock and roll of the city or whatever, and you go into, I think it's your grandparents' place where it's like, okay, come look after bees instead. And yeah, it literally just not throws you in. That's the wrong word, but it's like it just gets straight to the point. It's not like it's not endless tutorials before you can just go and hit a tree, And it has that very Minecraft. I guess it's just like I don't really play many like survival or simulation games, but it's like, has Minecraft just become the standard where it's like, just to start punching a tree immediately, and that's
I
how
think
you
all
get
survival
wood?
games assume that wood is the basic element and that you will punch it.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because that's not how the world has ever worked.
You mean we didn't
At
punch
no point
trees?
in time has humanity been like, I will punch a tree first versus I will salvage broken wood. Like, you should be like picking up. I think some games do the pick up sticks to make an axe.
Yeah.
I mean, they pretty much give you that right off the bat. They do give you an axe, but it's like, I can just punch a tree instead if I want to. But yeah, is that very much okay? You collect wood and you make a crafting table and you manufacture other tools and stuff like that. It's very Minecraft.
Is there mining?
No, or at least not what I've seen. I don't think so. Sorry?
Beecraft.
Yes, Beecraft. Yeah. speaking of that, it has some really good puns. Like the economy is called like rubies and stuff like that. It's
Nice.
just it's got
Right.
puns of that. Really really charming. I mean, the sprite art is really wonderful to look at. It's like just got a calming aesthetic to it. The music's great. Everything's relaxing. But yeah, it is very Minecraft in your going around this open you know this forest essentially, and it's like okay, you're collecting wood and um, you know you begin to craft tools and basically collect bees. There's like a whole breeding kind of system to it, and breeding bees, breeding flowers. But where it's not like Minecraft in the sense of like Minecraft's all full of like discovery. I mean, obviously, like there's like Reddit forums you can go on and like, how do I make redstone? This and that. Like, how do I make a calculator within Minecraft? It's like it's all known at this
Mm.
point, but going in there, it's like say if the internet didn't exist, going into Minecraft, it's very much you discover things, naturally and stuff like that. Whereas in this, they right off the bat give you, these like little handbooks, these journals, and it's like you can get them up at like flick of a button, which is really nice in case you forget anything or you need to reread up on something.
Mm.
But in that sense, it's like it's more giving you all well, not all of it, but a lot of information at you right at the off the bat, and it's like okay, this takes some reading. It's less learn by exploring and exploration. It's more okay, here are the reading materials, let me bone up on this and then go you know start mining. And why am I saying mining? You're not mining, but you know what I mean. And start it's all
Beekeep.
there. It's nothing like okay, what yeah, beekeeping. It's not like okay, if I smash two things together, what will this make? It's more look, we want you to understand the systems of the game and go on your beekeeping adventure. Even though I love that it's like 2D and everything like that, and it's like I love the aesthetic of it. I think something gets lost when it's 2D because this game, I mean, other than your ultimate goal and having like your own little beekeeping society and stuff like that, like there's a chance to like make your own lodges and like customize your lodges. And I
Mm.
think it being 2D, it kind of loses that kind of intimacy in that in the customization. It doesn't feel like Animal Crossing, like where everything's like fully detailed and it like looks like an actual house, or The Sims or something like that, or even Minecraft, like everything's blocky, of course, but you feel like you're living in that space. Whereas
Yeah.
from a 2D perspective, that's a little bit more not as intimate. So
Mhm.
I don't know how much I'll be like, wanting to do that customization as such. Because just from perspective of like even time, like back back in the 90s, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I get to make my own little house or whatever. And it's like that, it would have been great. And it's like, but games have just come on so much
Yeah.
more where it's like playing Animal Crossing is like literally playing with like Sylvanian family toys and stuff like that. Whereas like going back to like a 2D thing, and especially where it's like I may not have the time to sink a lot of time into this, it doesn't feel as compelling.
Mm.
But yeah, right after that, it's super charming. It's perfect for the Steam Deck, and it works excellently off the Steam Deck. And
Nice.
it's got a ton of like accessibility options, and like when you go into the game, immediately can choose your skin tone, your pronouns, everything. And it's like they've really thought about like, okay, we're going to make a simulation game. We're going to make it easy for you. You know what I mean? There's so many
Mm.
things like Animal
Mm.
Crossing, for example, where everything's feel well, not everything. A lot of things feel laborious, and you're just like, just let me do this for crying out loud. Just let me, you know, pin this option here, or let me use these menus in a quicker way and stuff like that. That's all done in this game. It's like it's you can tell they've really thought about the design of it and the user experience,
Mhm.
like every minute, because not only is like the loop really fun, like okay, chop down my trees, make some more crafting materials, collect some more bees, start doing this and everything. They've thought about, okay, if you're going to be doing this minute to minute and the gameplay loop is that fun, we're not going to put any obstacles or barriers in your way. We're going to just make it fun and easy.
That's great.
So yeah, it's charming. I've been playing it on my Steam Deck.
I just hate. I mean, it's dripping with jealousy every time you use that turn of phrase. I mean, I'm really happy that someone I know has one and it's as good as it gets. Seems like, but
it's like like every night, and it's just so easy just to like hop in a game. That's the good thing about it. It's like I hopped into it a bit more last night, and it's just like, I'll think a few. I think it was about. Well, I fell asleep, so it was bad. Before I stopped thinking.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Good.
I think it's still running on it, so it's just in idle mode. So
it's maybe a topic for another episode, but it's interesting that the game is made the user experience very well, and it's not put those barriers in place. It's kind of like, this is the main loop, and this is what you're kind of doing, but it's then throwing in not half-baked ideas, but ideas which maybe don't quite translate as well as they would do in a 3D environment or in another kind of environment. And it makes me think of, like, have we got to a point with some genres of games at least where you can be like, Animal Crossing is or Animal Crossing, whatever the latest one is, New Leaf or Horizons, and be like, this is the pinnacle of what this is trying to do. Everything else is either now just imitation of that, and there must be tons of games out there like that which have got got to that point, and that we can very much say this is the pinnacle of that genre. What can you do next to kind of improve or enhance upon that? And that's a conversation for another time.
I think this is like notched out its own little niche though, where it's like, okay, it's obviously got the bees, which is like, I don't think, like, can't think of the little sim game that has the same kind of beekeeping elements. Maybe there are obviously there's stuff where you like breed animals and stuff like that, and have an economy surrounded around that, but yeah, I think it's meant to be a game that doesn't consume your whole life, and it's not one that you'll play endlessly forever. It's something that it's like, I will get to a point where it's like, I've made my little bee kingdom, I'm very happy, I've found all the different bee types, they're all very pretty and cute. I can get off this ship now, I can jump off and feel satisfied still. So yeah, I think that's the kind of game it is, which is nice. It was more in line with my means.
Yeah. Good.
Nice.
Good. I wasn't going to talk about the game that I've been playing because we haven't got a topic. But I'm not going to talk about it because I want to delve more into it. I've been playing Diablo Immortal, which is a game that wants you to come and play it every day.
Which is a game.
I both love it and hate it at the same time. I'll expand upon this more next week when I've played a few more kind of hours of it, but at the moment I am playing a tiny bit every day, even if it's maybe just 15 minutes, because of the mechanics of do one kill a day and get some extra stuff, do this every day, here's some more things. They're very, very mobilized, this the IP.
I think the stat is to pay to get to top level. Your gear is £88,000.
I've got that to spare, no problem.
Ridiculous.
What do I get? Like a level 80 troll or whatever it is? I don't even know what's in Diablo. Do I become the devil himself?
Yes, you do. It's the same as like Elden Ring, just
in real life.
Naked man in nappy. That's what you get for £88,000. But we're not going to talk about that now. Let's move on to our topic. Adol, I'm going to let you lead into this because it's an article, or not an article. It was actually a screenshot that you shared, wasn't it?
Yeah. So basically, obviously, we are in a tumultuous time politically, especially with inflation and Brexit compounding things and COVID compounding things, etc. And so the campaign for Real Ale, CAMRA, who we've talked about occasionally, but because CAMRA tends to focus on keeping cask ale and like the old ways, which we all are fine with.
Real ale.
Yeah, real ales. We tend not to really focus on that stuff because we like variety, and the
Uh-huh.
sub parts of camera has been less. Don't lose this, but keep that, as so much as fuck that, keep this.
Yeah.
Um, which I mean, again, it depends on who you talk to, who's a camera supporter. So, like, if you go to a pub and they say we're a camera pub, that doesn't mean anything. But like, there is definitely this tension. Anyway, so Nick Antona, the camera chairman, sent a public letter to Paul Scully, the Minister for Small Business, Consumers, and Labor Markets, regarding enshrining the right to 100% liquid pint in weights and measures legislation. Again, keep in mind what's happening in the world, especially in Britain right now. And he says, Dear Paul Scully, I'm writing from CAMRA, the Campaign for Real Ale, to ask for your support for a small change to the weights and measures legislation to ensure that, alongside the crown symbol, consumers have a legal right to a pint of beer that is 100% liquid. The Jubilee Bank holiday was a brilliant success for pubs and social clubs across the UK, with many hosting events and bringing communities together to celebrate.
Fuck the Jubilee.
Alongside this, it was great to see such a decisive statement from your department on the use of the crown symbol to signify to consumers that they have received a full pint of beer. Reference, press release, yada yada yada. We wholeheartedly support the use of the crown symbol as the hallmark of the Great British Pint. However, many consumers do not realize that a pint of beer isn't defined as 100% liquid in law. This means that every single time a consumer buys a pint, they could be shortchanged without any real recourse if a top-up is refused. We consider this an issue of basic consumer rights, and there's a very simple solution. Therefore, we ask the government tops off a wonderful weekend of Jubilee celebrations by committing to a small legislative change to enshrine the right to a full pint in law, alongside the welcome guidance on the crown mark and the consultation of choices of weights and measure units. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss this further. And the campaign will submit a response to consultation in due course. Yours sincerely, Nick.
Huh?
So,
I genuinely don't understand what this. Like, what
I
do you
know,
mean liquid?
but like this is why
Fluff, man.
publicizing it is so strange. But basically, in the background, what's happened is Boris and co. have been pushing to return to imperial units, to round up their base and get rid of the EU's metric.
It's the
But
Empire, isn't
also,
it?
hmm?
The
Yeah,
Empire.
the
And
Empire. It's
what will
great.
I want if I order a pint then? What will
Well,
I ask for? A pint?
No,
Still?
it's still a
So-
pint. Still a
yeah.
pint, but it would be
Yeah.
100% liquid.
Well, so then
What
what
else
they
is it though?
what
Like,
they've
what's the
done
other-
already
Froth,
is
mate.
basically said
That's
that the
gas.
crown symbol
That
should
turns
be
into liquid. Even my key stage 2
Yeah.
science taught me
Um,
everything.
so what they have done is said that the crown symbol is the mark of the imperial pint.
Mhm.
Like part of their legislation is like we want to return to our weights and measures and say a pint is imperial pint. We've always it's the same pint measure we use, but now we're going to put a crown on it to say, look, it's the British pint.
Mhm.
That's the
Rather
move
than
that's
the
already been
American
done.
pint or whatever.
And then what CAMRA is saying is, oh, these pints should be 100% liquid. What they're saying is, it should be cask poured because cask doesn't pour with head.
Yes,
That's
exactly
that's
what
what they are doing.
Absolutely.
So
What
they're
a
saying head is
fucking-
bad, therefore new is bad, therefore keg is bad, craft brewing is bad, imports are bad, like your Heinekens are on kegs a lot of the time too. And so they're trying to fight this battle to try and like force a weird legislation, like to get the momentum of the bygone era to basically mean it's going to be impossible to pour a non-British
It
cask
sounds like,
ale.
to get everyone using British potatoes, we're gonna get rid of crisps that are made out of parsnips
Yeah, essentially.
and lentils.
No, it's more like we're getting rid of. We're going to say that
Nothing
because
on
the-
the crisp
it's like
market.
if the Irish varietal of potato, which I know doesn't make sense because both are from the New World, potatoes potato, but like say Ireland we imported potatoes from Ireland and they had like a slightly different profile, it'd be like, oh yeah, we need to enshrine the British profile so that people like can't actually really people have to go out of their way to change the Irish one to fit our standard.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really dumb.
it's dumb, but also all this is going to do is make companies have new glasses made
That are
which
taller.
are slightly bigger than a pint. So then they have a little line on it which says 1 pint, and then they've got an extra 5 or 6 mil above it,
Yeah.
ready for the head of their beer.
But-
And glass prices are through the fucking roof in construction right now. So who knows how much it is to produce, 1,000, 10,000 pint and but pint point
You just
one
serve the
fucking
rest in an
glasses.
ashtray.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
there you
With
go.
all the
Also,
nuts
like-
and the pork scratchings, mate. Fucking
it's more than that, right? Because like the head is part of the drink. If you get
Yes.
poured
Yeah.
keg
Yes.
beer without head, it's been mispoured. So they're
Yeah.
they're really they're basically saying
It's kind of
a pint
weird,
glass
yeah.
can't serve a certain type of beer.
It's
I mean,
like
I
go
want you to legally enshrine
over
that
to
these beers will
Belgium
be
and
served
don't have
poorly
like
or not at all.
go over to Belgium, don't have like half your beer that's just head, and you'll get thrown out of a pub. You know what I mean? It's just like,
but okay,
like-
it's like
like
fucking.
what's
I
wrong
don't
with
know.
head?
It's like little man fucking syndrome, isn't it? Like we're
It's-
we're
it's-
going back to the British way. It's like fuck off.
It's a bit weird because
Just
it's
fuck
like
off.
it's even weirder now because it's like obviously want to preserve like cask ale and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
rightly so. But it's like there's so many breweries that I've seen now who traditionally only do K, who are like, oh yeah, we've just started doing like cask beers now. So many I've seen. It's like they're actually coming. Not round to your thought. I don't think there was any disputing that. We need to keep cask alive, but it's like
But
they're absolutely like jumping on that
It-
not bandwagon, but on that
Mhm.
crusade.
Yeah.
But it's because it's not
Yeah.
really about cask ale. It's about getting support for old breweries and not letting new entrants come in. That's what this move is. Because
Yeah.
like Bristol Beer Factory, New Bristol Brewery, or a couple breweries who are in my neighborhood are in a couple of the pubs, and I have to double check because I like, so for example, New Bristol Brewery, I don't like their beers on cask. I think there's too much lost when you lose that carbonation. I think the flatness betrays the flavor in a bad way. But if I say, what beers do you have? They'll say those because they have them. Some of them have them on cask, which is fine because like it's my personal taste, right? But like they're not. They're trying to put that brewery who does both out of business. Essentially.
Yeah,
They're,
yeah, and
like it's
it's-
very clearly they're like, yeah. So
it's
you do
old
most of your
boys
business
club,
on keg. You're
Yeah.
new. Fuck off. Die.
It's the-
Nick has shares in a glass manufacturing fucking company because he knows he wants this fucking change and that new glass is going to be. It's the fucking Tory way, isn't it? Let's make a change, but let's make sure that we're going to make
We're
this change
profiting
and
off the
we've
back
got
of
our
it.
fingers in the fucking pie first.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nick, if you listen, you're not. But the whole the Jubilee celebration was great. Fuck off.
Fucking
What the
yeah.
fuck has that got to
That's
do
what-
with
that-
anything, you
He's
twat?
been waiting probably about 7 years till the Jubilee. He's probably like, please don't die, Queen. He's probably been like that just so that he's like, this is the perfect storm. This is when I can be like, boom, 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 England, flag, Union Jack. Was there a Union Jack in the letter? Probably. It's like, yeah, he's just like, England, and like, yeah.
It's hidden in there. All the E's line up just to make the
Yeah.
Union flag within his letter. But it kind of like why are we welcoming again? Just let's have the crown put on it. Why?
You know what would be
What's
good
the fucking
sovereignty?
point?
Getting rid of people like him. Just like putting him in a dinghy in the channel with a large hole in the bottom of it. You know what I mean?
Just put him in the
That would
container
be
with
my
Boris.
idea of sovereignty.
Just fucking
Well,
ship him
you-
out to sea.
You need like a wood chipper to get rid of him. You need some. You can't leave it up to the chance of him drowning. You need to see remains to get rid of him.
But
There can be no question.
I think kind of, like as we're saying, I completely the campaign for Real Ale absolutely it does some good work.
Yes.
And the
100%.
idea about preservation of more traditional styles of beer, great. Yes, we should
But also-
absolutely see that, and it's
Yeah,
great for
preservation.
certain kinds
There's
of
good cask.
Yes, absolutely. There's good cask as well, and lots of people enjoy that and drink that. But this move is very odd.
Because
It's-
they've always been like saying, look, we want to bring in more people to the CAMRA movement and stuff like that. We need to prove that we're not just sweaty old men talking about beer. But this is very much like going against the good steps that they've made in the last decade, and it's very much sounding like that, you know, like the camera that everyone didn't want to know a while ago. You know what I mean? So it feels like, well, not 2 steps forward, one step. Well, one step forward, 2 steps back. It's not quite that. It's this. As long as no one entertains this, I feel like that. But it's like, what you doing? It's like, you've done good stuff recently. Don't just wipe it off and just all this silliness. There's definitely no need for it.
I mean, also just the this government has not been kind to small businesses. Which breweries generally are.
I think that's what it. I think that's what it is, though. It's this.
No, but
this is what I'm saying. But that is the whole point, where it's like, it's about me, and it's like, I have to get forward. It's about me and nothing else. It's like very American in this kind of thing, where it's like, I need to get forward. I can't help anyone else in my community. It's all about me. You know, the American dream is for me, essentially. It's like, screw everyone else. I'll push everyone else out of the way to get to my goal. Where it's like, no, why is it not a sense of, you know, rising tide raises all boats, or whatever it is? It's like, why do you need to put someone else down to get a leg up? That shouldn't be the case. And that's exactly what this society is now, where it's like, Tories have us all shredding each other.
But like, this is what I was trying to say, is like, breweries have all breweries have suffered under this government, and so to start with this bootlicking, the crown icon on a pint, which, I'm sorry, functionally means fuck all, and it's all just like British Empire nostalgia boners. Like, to be like, oh, this was such a good idea. Oh, you know, be even better idea. Oh, 100% liquid.
But the idea, people are being shortchanged. What? Because it's 98% liquid, and there's a 2
but also the
mil
taste
head
is better with that
on
head.
the fucking pint. Like, what? You're losing 15p of your beer.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's like 48p now.
I mean, it's a surprise that he didn't also say, oh, the only other thing we'd like is for a Union flag to be etched into every cask that's sent out into the new world as we ship our beers across the seas. Like, it just reeks of just desperation, and like Nick's looking for his peerage in every single possible way he can, isn't he? It's like, I've done very well as a businessman. I deserve to be in the House of Lords. This is how I'm going to do it. And he's just licking the boots.
I mean, you would fit in, so, you know.
Without knowing anything about Nick.
I mean, but like,
just reading this letter, we know all we need to know about Nick.
He's like, oh, the country's getting rid of every like liter. I wish they got rid of every keg with that liter. That's the move he's trying to say. Like, oh, and it's so transparent and sad.
Yeah, it's like, just exclusivity for no point. It's like,
it's trying to gatekeep when there is no fucking place to be. Like, there's the gate doesn't go anywhere. Why are you stood here stopping people from just going about their business?
And making people just only drink cask in this country is not going to make people only drink cask in this country.
No.
People like us will still go elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Shipping our beers from Norway.
Well, yes. So Nick's either got some fingers in a glass manufacturing company, or he runs the only import company that pulls in from the rest of Europe or something like that. It's a very odd move. And it would be interesting to know where this has come from. Like, none of us are CAMRA members, and it would be interesting to know has this come from the ground up? Have CAMRA members gone, well, I want 100% liquid in my glass, and he is just conveying the message? I can't imagine that's the case.
Did he log into like an old AOL account instead of deleting his email? He accidentally pressed send on like an email he drafted like 30 years ago or something. Because I don't get it.
No,
it was the Queen's Jubilee from like, you know, her 20th
20 years ago. Yeah. Oh Oh, Nick, what a misstep. At least for
Yeah.
us young'uns, let's say.
Yeah, let's call ourselves young.
With regards to CAMRA, I think we probably
Yeah, that's
can.
true.
I mean,
I mean, that says a lot, though, right? That like I'm cresting. I'm closer to 40 than anyone else. Well, like I'm turning 39 this year, right? Like,
All right.
but the camera's so out of touch that like I'm a youngin. I think too young for CAMRA.
Yeah. And it's like I like cask beer.
The thing is,
absolutely.
like,
Yeah?
I'm not like a keg snob,
No.
but I can't. I'm not a CAMRA member, and I'm a beer snob because when I first moved here, there was this feeling of this type of sentiment, and then every so often it kind of bubbles over. And this is just like so blatant. It's like, yeah, no, my suspicions were correct, and like it makes me feel like, and this might be a misstep and might be core members, but it really, for people like me, who came from away, learned about cask, and was really interested, and then saw some of the outreaches, it does feel like those. This is such a blatant move that it feels like those were calculated PR moves, not legitimate outreaches,
I
which
mean,
might not be the case.
yeah.
I'm just saying this is.
I mean,
how the
bringing the
situation
Jubilee
reads.
into it,
Yeah,
it has to be. This was predetermined. It wasn't just a thought he had.
yeah,
Was
and
he
then
waiting?
you're like, okay, so the few times where you're like, yeah, we want, like, they used to have like in like 2015, 16, I remember seeing advertisements of like trying to get more women into beer in that like kind of patriarchal, but at least trying to be like, we're open to new people, not just old white men in pubs. Like, okay, well, you're a bit behind the times, but that's good. Like, that feels like it was just PR moves at the time because this is so blatant.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't speak for the rest of the camera, and this is just some isolated loon just going a bit rogue.
I mean, he's in charge, so he does.
His literal job is to.
No,
speak.
I know, I know, but I'm just saying, like, hopefully he didn't. This wasn't a decision by committee. Like,
Sure,
hopefully
sure.
this is just him going out
He's just really
because
letting.
because I'm in charge. Like,
Yeah.
let me go do this. You know, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, and that would also pose a problem to, like, you know, the structure of CAMRA. You know,
Absolutely.
it's meant to be a community.
Yeah.
Rather than one lone madman talking about
Yeah, we need to get someone in CAMRA to come on and talk to us about the ins and outs of what's going on and their thoughts about pint measurements and crowns and fucking parasitic monarchies on taxpayers in this country. Anyway,
Dolduses, mate.
Fucking
Dolduses.
just absurd.
Mm.
Let's jump back to the beer for the new generation, for the young people. The beers that we have been drinking this episode. Lucy, we'll come to you first.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just flew by.
It's because you usually have to deal with us for 2 hours.
Deal with or enjoy.
I mean,
you decide. Yeah, I've only got like halfway through mine.
oh wow,
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
well, mine is double the percentage of these.
Oh yeah, this wasn't judgmental. I was just saying.
Yeah, no, just it's yours and his beers combined. Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's just, yeah, it's nice to sip on. As I said, it's got that really nice coconutty flavor, that nice bit of coffee, perfect balance between like sweet and like it just tastes moreish. It definitely has that kind of like more like not coconut but like other nuts, like hazelnutty almost, like kind of moorishness to it, and it's just, yeah, it's really good. I mean, Overtone make great beers, so it's like no surprise, you know. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I had a stout, and this is, even though I say it looks atrocious, it's like it's one of the best stouts I've had this year that I can remember. But it has been a while, so yeah, but really enjoyable beer. Overtone. I mean, go pick up anything they have, but yeah, this right down from the lovely can art. It's just really good. Yeah, really good.
Nice.
Coconut froth. It had froth at the start, but then that quickly went. So it's more like coconut gunk.
Probably not quite as well to sell it.
No.
Good. My beer was the Forbidden Sesh from New Bristol Brewery. I drank it so quickly, as I said I would at the top from those initial flavours. It was so dry that you're just going back to it constantly. The flavour, it dulled a little bit, not a massive amount, but it did dull slightly. Some of those sweeter notes disappeared, so that little kind of hint of strawberry, maybe that sort of slightly more, it's kind of peachy. Those sort of slightly sweeter notes, they were just gone at the end, and it was just that more bitter, that piney kind of bitterness that was sticking around. It is a session IPA, but I don't think I'd want a session on it. I don't think I'd want to have another one again. I'd want something that was afterwards, something to cleanse a little bit more full bodied, a little bit more like a pale, just something very easy, something very light, but that was a bit more lasting than this, I think, to finish it off. So yeah, the Forbidden Sesh from New Bristol Brewery. Adel, the Demolan.
Yeah, the Hammer and Sickle. What a great porter. At 5.2%, it has just enough alcohol to help bring that the sweetness that's in it to bind to the malts and give it that thickness, even though it doesn't have the 9% to easily give that mouthfeel and texture. It's really good. I think it's just exceptionally well balanced. Like I said before, it has this sweetness and this roastedness that just interact well together long enough for the sort of burnt malts to slide back enough such that you have this really satisfying finish that doesn't ever really push you towards, oh, that's kind of acrid, even though it has this sort of acrid tone to it. As it went on, some of that sweetness, like I predicted, just sort of disappeared into my palate, but that just smoothed out everything. Like, as I got used to everything, it's such a neat, like, I ended up drinking it reasonably quickly because again, it didn't quite have that like heft, and thus it didn't feel heavy. And so as soon as I thought about it or wanted more of that initial taste, or was like, oh, finish is still there, but I'd like to make it a bit stronger, I just resupped. But it totally didn't need me to resup. I just wanted more of that taste. It's really excellent. And it's been a while since I've had a porter or like a dark beer from the Netherlands, and this very much feels like in the style of what like Demolan does, which is just like really crisp, well-made, well-crafted beers in the style. And this feels like, oh yes, this is a lightish porter. It's doing all the portery things, but it's doing it really well, and they've really thought about how it will taste all the way through the taste curve. And yeah, you could have multiple of these in a row because, again, it's only 5.2%, and it doesn't feel heavy because of that. But you could also have like 2 or 3 in a night out because you could really, like, you could choose to nurse it in the same way. Yeah, excellent beer as always from them.
Good. If you, dear listener, viewer, want to talk to us about the beers that you're drinking, about the games that you're playing, about the cast ale that you've been supping recently, you can do so on the socials at tankedupcast. You can email us if you like at tankedupcast@gmail.com. You can get me at Nova_47. Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9.
And Adel is
at the Omniarch.
And you can get all of us over on outoflives.net as well, where you can see our lovely faces. You can see the beers that we have been drinking, or over on the YouTube and Twitch, which is Out of Lives Network over there. Come and hang out with us if you fancy on an evening when we record on the Thursday over on the Twitch, and crack a beer, share a beer with us, let us know your thoughts on it. That'd be really good to hear from you. I imagine our next episode might touch on the Bristol Craft Beer Festival, which we'll be attending soon.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Well,
tomorrow,
in a couple of days' time. But after this
Or
episode, we'd have been there. Yes, we'd have been there
yeah.
when this episode goes
This is
out.
the Monday.
So, if you're going, let us know. Let us know what you've been up to, what you've been drinking. It'd be really good to hear from all of you. Thank you for joining us for the evening, for this week. We've been Tanked Up. Goodbye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net